I want to tell you a funny story. I actually, when I signed up for registration, you can ask. It asked you if you wanted to be a speaker, and I said, sure. I'll talk about something. I talk about spaces all the time. Some of my projects, but I didn't really think about much about it. And I heard from John. Where's John? Slowest Time Lord, out here somewhere. But he sent me an email a couple weeks ago saying, "Are you still going to do a speech or something?" And I said, "Sure, I'll do something." But I see that you already have lots of other speakers, and I don't really have much to say. So, to me, that meant I'm probably not going to give a speech. But to John, that meant put me on the website for a speech. So we're going to do something tonight, and I don't know why they put me as last either. I think the last speech that Michael just did should have really been the end of the evening. That was incredible, Michael. Thank you for that. So we'll talk about SeedSnap tonight. SeedSnap is basically a tweet to NFT bot. So you can send a tweet, you tag SeedSnap, and it will create a NFT out of that tweet for you. The idea is that it's a very easy way to create an NFT. Right now, especially in the early days of NFTs, creating an NFT was quite difficult on the Chia blockchain. Now, of course, we have nice services like Mint Garden and some of the other services that help with that. But early on, back in I think it was 2022 when we launched, it was very difficult to create NFTs on the Chia blockchain for the normal person, not a developer. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if you could just literally mention a Twitter user and get an NFT back for that mention. The idea is that you can create a tweet and mention the SeedSnap bot, and the system will go out and grab the media that's attached to that tweet. It'll also grab a scrolling screenshot of that tweet. I'm going to show you a few here. So a few examples here. This was one of the early ones I took, and this was kind of an example of a multi-tweet screenshot. Notice that it's literally taking a screenshot as you would see the tweet as a human on Twitter. It also does a kind of a scrolling thing in case there's more comments or things. We'll see some other things there with some of these other tweets that we have. But the idea is that not only are we going to capture some of the media that's attached to the tweet, but we're also going to capture this nice view of a scrolling screenshot so that if there are comments or other things that you might be interested in for posterity, they will also be there. One of the things I saw earlier, I think Drac mentioned N8N, and I want to talk a little bit about how we actually do this behind the scenes, because it sounds simple, right? You mention a bot, and a couple minutes later, you get back a response from the bot that says, "Hey, here's your NFT." I have kind of two messages here to both developers and non-developers, and I think this is kind of interesting. It sounds very simple, right? This is only one of the 3 workflows that is responsible for sending and doing all of the work that I just described. From the non-user perspective, I wanted to show off kind of the complexity that you might see behind the scenes of something that seems simple, but is relatively complex. One of the silly things, for example, trying to get the explicit mention. So the idea is that you send a tweet, you tag my SeedSnap bot, you say, hey, you reply to a tweet, you create a new tweet, you tag the bot. The first thing the bot has to do is determine if you meant to tag it or not. And the reason is because if you reply to one of the bot's other messages, the system thinks that's also a mention because you have mentioned the bot in the reply. So we have to be smart about things like that, and we have to say, wait a minute, you mentioned the bot, but is that mention an automatic mention? Did you just reply to something that the bot has already tweeted out there? Or did you actually specifically mention the bot and you actually want an NFT? It turns out that obviously if you mention the user, that's one of the user tags, it would say @SeedSnap in the tweet. But if you reply and you also mention SeedSnap, that's 2 mentions in the tweet. That's 2 @SeedSnaps that actually show up. I'm getting a lot of nods over here from Twitter developers who understand this stuff. It's very not fun learning all about all of this. But the idea here is that we know it's an explicit mention if, first of all, it's a brand new tweet. It's not a reply. It's a brand new tweet, and it mentions SeatSnap. We know that we need to go do something. If it's a reply, though, we need to see 2 SeatSnap mentions in that tweet, because the first one is just the reply mention. The second one is the implicit or the explicit mention from the user that said, hey, I actually am not just replying to you. I want to do another SeatSnap again. So that's just one of the things. We're not going to go through all of this, of course, but from a non-developer perspective, what's so interesting about development is the complexity, the things you don't think about. And as you go through these step by step, these are workflows. This is all done in what's called N8N. It's a workflow designer that it's called low code or no code. It allows you to kind of visually create your workflow or your process. You can still use code where necessary if you need to, but for the most part, everything is pretty much configurable. Like I said, though, this is three separate workflows. So this is just the first one. This is where we go decide if you even are trying to are you even like trying to talk to me? That's the first thing that I'm trying to figure out. The second one is, let's go format some stuff, and we go make some more decisions. For example, here's the not explicit mention thing that we check. We go, another thing, does this snap already exist? So has someone else already someone else already requested a snap of this exact tweet? Just kind of a neat little thing with rarity in NFTs. You kind of want an NFT to be a one of one, usually, in this case anyway. So if you ask SeatSnap to snap a tweet that's already been SeatSnapped by someone else, this is going to say no. Sorry, that already exists. You need to go trade with that person to get it. So this could be an Elon tweet or some a Gene tweet, a brand tweet, something that everybody really wants, and the first person who gets it, so to speak. The last workflow is actually the fun one here, and this is where we actually start talking to some of the other services. So at this point, we've gotten the fact that somebody wants us to make a tweet, an NFT, I'm sorry, and we know most of the stuff about the tweet. Now we can actually start creating the stuff around the NFT that we need to do. So the first thing we're going to do is go out to Screenshot One. Now Screenshot One is a service. It's a third-party service. This is going to play into what I want to talk to developers about. So we talked to the end users or the non-developers a second ago. Screenshot One is a third-party service. It's a really nice service. You basically give it a URL, and it will go create a very nice scrolling screenshot. So that's where my scrolling screenshots come from. It's not some magic that I'm doing with GPUs behind the scenes or anything fancy like that. I literally use a service that I pay a little bit for and go do that. Same thing with Firebase. So the very next thing is we upload to Firebase. Firebase is an IPFS kind of service on top of that. So that's where we actually store your NFT data, is out on Firebase in IPFS. We do some stuff with errors if we need to. We get the metadata out. Here's the interesting part that I love, and Acevel's here somewhere too, I think. Mint Garden, Andres, I don't know, where is he? Somewhere. Oh. So Mint Garden, he has a really cool service. The neat thing about SeatSnap, the first service, the first implementation of SeatSnap, I would actually, when you requested the snap, I would actually go ahead and mint the NFT on-chain and then send you a DEXY offer file for that NFT via tweet, and you could accept it or not. If you didn't accept it, I ended up with a lot of just NFTs at the end of the year or into whenever I decided to look at it that hadn't been sold. People would make NFTs and not actually buy them, which is fine. It's not a big deal. It doesn't cost me more than a mojo to make an NFT, so I'm not worried about it. But I ended up with a lot of extra NFTs that I have to either burn or get rid of or send out. I think I ended up sending a lot of them out to existing NFT SeatSnap owners the last time. The cool thing about the new service, though, is it uses a service from Mint Garden. And what this does is, rather than minting the NFT when you ask for it via tweet, we actually create an offer file, and that offer file itself contains the instructions to mint that NFT when you accept the offer file. This is a Mint Garden thing that Acevel worked really hard on and works great for SeatSnap specifically. But the idea is that we get the offer from Mint Garden. The offer is just the offer. We haven't actually minted an NFT on chain yet. The offer just tells the acceptor how their wallet will create the NFT, and of course it's pre-signed. So I've already signed the coins that will be used to create these NFTs, They will still be minted under the Seedsnap DID, so it will be officially a Seedsnap. But the acceptor of the offer is the one that's actually minting it, which is pretty neat. Now I caught it on my map. Yes, okay. Sorry, that totally threw me off. So yeah, it will mint the mint garden, the NFT when you accept the offer. Oh, that's right. So the files that I have, I've already uploaded them to Filebase. That's something interesting too. So I've already uploaded the Twitter files, the pictures that I've taken, the scrolling screenshot. I went ahead and uploaded that to Filebase because when you do mint the NFT, you will need those files, obviously. But you haven't minted them yet. The files are just there in Filebase, ready to be linked to when you do mint the NFT. If, after 24 hours, you do not accept that NFT, the offer file expires. So this uses another fun feature of offer files, the expiring bit. The offer file itself will expire after 24 hours. You can no longer mint that NFT for that tweet, and it's gone. This actually goes really well with the Twitter rules. The Twitter rules are actually that you can only hold on to a tweet for up to 24 hours after it's been deleted by the user that created the tweet in the first place. As an API developer, you have to follow a lot of these rules. So if you create a tweet, someone Seedsnaps it, and then you delete that tweet, I have 24 hours to delete it out of my system as well, technically. In this case, the offer file itself is 24 hours to expire from the original point of the tweet. So it either expires or it's someone else's wallet at that point, and it's not my thing anymore. I don't have anything to do with it. So it works really well for the Twitter API requirements as well. That's pretty much it. I wanted to talk to the developers real quick though. So I talked to the end user, or the non-developers, I should say, about the complexity inherent in systems that you don't think about. It seems like a simple thing, but there's lots and lots of stuff here. And this is in a low-code tool that you could probably easily... The reason I love this is that I can go back to this. I forget what I've written in code a lot. I can easily go back to this and see kind of quickly what's going on in this format. But even so, it's still very complex. What I want to talk to developers about, though, is I see a lot of the other side. Developers, a lot of developers I know, will look at this and say, that's not complex enough. I would much rather write code. I would much rather do way more complex things. I want to, the not invented here syndrome is a big thing. I exist at the top end of the developer spectrum, so to speak. A lot of the people that have come up here and talked are at the low end. They are the guys down in the weeds doing the really important cryptography and just crazy low-level stuff that demands efficiencies, demands very important software engineering. I'm creating an NFT when you send me a tweet. I can take a little bit more liberty and exist at a bit of a higher abstraction. I don't need to optimize every single little thing and make sure that I'm saving every single byte. We leave that to the really hardcore developers. But if you're doing app-type stuff, don't sleep on N8N and low-code tools. We see a lot of this already in the AI vibe coding world nowadays. This was, of course, back in 2022, before vibe coding for sure, but this was the early vibe coding, drag and drop blocks and connect them together. So don't sleep on this kind of stuff when it's the right tool for the job. Obviously, if you're building the blockchain itself, you shouldn't be using an N8N, but if you're building a tweet bot that talks to Twitter and you're not even sure if Elon will raise the price again next month, then it's probably best to not spend as much time on it and do it as fast as you can with the tools that are out there. So, great timing. All right, that's it. Thank you.